All right, well, welcome everybody. This is the executive board meeting for September 29th, and this one is an urgent one. It was labeled as urgent because the there's a short timeline for a response from the public on the latest FEMA biological opinion implementation plan that they have. And so I would say we're not happy about having to do this on a short timeline, but we have a group of us, a small group, three people have done a great job, I think, of putting forward a draft letter uh, with what we would say it'd be a community response to FEMA's biological um, uh, implementation buyout plan and the implementation of that. So just one agenda item for tonight, and that's it. Uh, the letter is on the NCAC website, and again, it's a draft. I think we're going to be able to put it on the screen this evening so that people who have not seen it can see it. The idea here is to have a conversation around it. I think if you look at well, let me back up for a minute. I think we have to do a conflict of interest. Let me just get that out of the way. So for the executive board members that are here, I have no conflicts this evening.
This is Chris. I have none either.
Yeah.
Michael Beachley, I have no conflicts.
Nancy Vandell, no conflicts.
Susan Schomburg, no conflicts.
Okay. Thank you. I almost forgot to do that. Um, tonight is going to be a review of the letter, a public review of the letter. Prior to the end of the meeting, the executive board will take a vote on the letter, approving or not. There'll be a motion to approve either as is or as amended. And then the executive board will take a vote and we'll move forward with that vote. So I don't know. I guess I'm not sure where to start here. I don't know how much the community has followed the FEMA biological opinion and the implementation plan for that. That came to the county around September 10th in meetings, but those were held at the county level. I know I didn't attend any of those, and so I'm kind of late getting to this, but
Would you like
I
me
don't
to
know
give
if
just a real quick thumbnail
yeah,
mark on the
either
history of this?
You or Guy could do it, but yeah,
So
Nancy,
why don't
go
I
ahead.
start with what we've done with
Okay.
NCAC, and then Guy
Yeah.
can fill in with all
Yeah.
the really
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
So back last year in October, November, I think it actually started in the summer of 2024, the county was given direction by FEMA that would greatly and negatively impact our ability to function as a county. And actually, there were many counties in Oregon affected by this, to be able to keep flood insurance. And so we were asked to provide some input at that point as an NCAC to the county on what we wanted them to do on behalf of us with these various alternatives that FEMA gave to us, all of which were bad. They were very costly and didn't take into account the kinds of of investments that people in the county had given over the years. And what this was is the result of a lawsuit that had been brought by various environmental organizations that FEMA had settled and affecting these counties. And so they're basically being forced to implement the results of the lawsuit. And the way that they've gone about doing it is it's extremely difficult. So there's information on the county website about this and videos and that kind of thing where really there's no good outcome. And so in last November and December, we met with, again, urgent meetings because it was, we didn't get the information until toward the end, but we as a board and then the membership agreed on a letter to be sent to the county that Mark presented that basically urged the county to take all necessary steps to do whatever they could do to, including possible lawsuit, to keep any of these alternatives from happening. And indeed, the county board of supervisors did decide that they were going to join in a lawsuit against FEMA to prevent these from happening. And now things have been going along, and FEMA has now come back with a response and alternatives, all of which are bad. And the county has asked the various constituencies within Tillamook County, including the CACs, to respond because FEMA is looking for public input. So this is our response, draft response. When we did the motion back in December to have the membership approval to fight back and communicate with the county, it was unanimous. And at this point, we don't have time for another membership meeting, but we feel like we have that approval from before, but we also want to hear from members tonight. But we feel like we do have authority as a board to proceed based on those previous meetings. So that's kind of the basis from a bylaw standpoint. But so Tom Sipe, Guy Sievert, and I drafted this letter, and we've gotten some great input from different board members on it, and it's changed over since we had the board meeting last week. And we feel like we've captured what the issues are and what the response needs to be. And FEMA is having a meeting tomorrow night asking for response. So there was an email note sent by the NCAC last week with links on how you can sign up for that FEMA meeting tomorrow night. And anyone's able to give their responses. But we are on file to have, if this gets approved tonight, to have Mark present this statement. So that's kind of the purpose of tonight, is to get authorization and any input from the board and of course the members who are present on if there are any questions or changes to this letter. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Mark,
So
can I just
go ahead, Guy.
add just a couple? That's a great summary, by the way, Nikki. And in terms of the process, last November, FEMA not only presented the new regs, but they that they were in the process of approving, but they also ordered the county to, in fact, follow the regulations even before they were finally approved. And so the county refused, and so there's this issue with FEMA ordering the county to follow, even before the regulations are finally approved, to follow the regulations anyways. The county said no, and FEMA came back and said, you can't say no, you got to follow it, and it's been left there. So then the lawsuit is going on. The review now, it's important, and as you read the letter, there's a couple of references to economic issues and whatever. So the final part of the review in a federal review of these new regulations has to deal with the impact of the new regulations on the economy and the social life of the community or whatever. So it's not a review as to these regulations, the no net rise things, other kinds of things that are involved here. Is it the best for salmon or other endangered species? It's not the point anymore. They've already made that decision. Now this review is, how does this impact communities? So you'll see a couple references in the letter to address some of those things. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And the letter is fairly technical based on this FEMA terminology and the county terminology. So we apologize for that, but we had to use land use language and to be able to get our point across in a way that they might listen to.
And the bottom line is the leverage that FEMA has is that the flood insurance, the National Flood Insurance Program. And anyone living in a floodplain, the only way you can get insurance is through the FEMA program. And FEMA is holding that over the county's heads well, it's 31 out of 36 counties come under this because believe it or not, there are 31 of the 36 counties that have salmon, the endangered species salmon. And I can't remember, it's like 240 cities and whatever other kinds of things. But what they're holding over the heads of everybody is if you don't approve this, you won't be eligible for the flood insurance program. And of course that it'll impact people in Nescoin whose only insurance comes through the flood insurance program from the federal government. So that's the threat that they have. Thus, the lawsuit and whatever. I mean, ultimately, if the county and other people who are part of this lawsuit lose, and FEMA moves ahead with all these regulations, we won't really have a choice.
And unfortunately, the costs associated with all of their 4 different alternatives FEMA has offered, and the costs of them are so prohibitive, and the kind of bureaucracy and hoops that have to be jumped through are so prohibitive and expensive that it's not doable. It's just not doable. So anyway, so the county, Sarah Absher, and the Board of Commissioners have been working really hard at trying to do what they can to mitigate it, but they have asked us to please respond tomorrow night. And then the final written documents need to be provided by October 6th. So I don't know, Mark, do you want us to go through the letter or just let everybody read the letter and ask questions?
Well, I see there's a question from Sharon Rask. Can you please place the link to the letter in the chat? Are you able to do that, Nancy? Or
yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
It's in the event page link too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think the letter is very well done. It hits on the big points that I kind of Guy and Nancy have mentioned, this issue of no net loss and the floodplain or flood plan, national flood plan coverage. And I will say that I talked to Sarah today, and it is a FEMA meeting tomorrow.
Right.
It's not a Tillamook County meeting. And, so I did go on and register. I did share that I wanted to speak. It's from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. I looked at the agenda, and I think public comment is towards the end. So having been to these before, I don't know. I mean, last November when I was at it, I was, I'm not quite sure how your number gets called to read something, but I'll be there from 6 to 8 tomorrow, and I've registered, and I just hope somebody from FEMA calls on me to read our letter because I'll have it ready.
But we'll still submit
ready
it.
to go.
I mean,
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If it's approved,
Absolutely.
by the board.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope we can do both. But yeah.
And I'm hoping Sarah will have some influence over who gets called as well, because there could be a lot of people. It could be a late meeting. They're saying 6 to 8, but who knows? Yeah. So anyone's welcome to submit. I know when I registered, it asked if I wanted to speak, and I just said, I don't know yet. And I don't plan to now. So, so Mark, you said you would, right? Yeah,
I'm planning to read. I'll be there. And but just in talking to Sarah, she said this isn't our meeting. This is FEMA's meeting.
Right.
And so they run the show. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I'll be there and I'll have the letter ready to go. So
Mark,
And-
are you going to
Mhm.
physically attend at the port, or are you going to just go online?
yeah, just be online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go physically, Guy? Because that,
No,
yeah.
no, I mean, the only reason to, I haven't finally decided yet, but the only reason to go to the port is just to be with other people who are
Yeah.
sharing your view. I mean,
Mhm.
it'll be a large gathering as it was back in November. Mark, you
Yeah.
spoke
Yeah.
online, I think at the November meeting a
Yeah.
year ago, and I was there, and it was I was there as a member of the planning commission, and
Mhm.
and it was helpful to hear what people were saying directly, not just online, and also to see people before and after. So, but I don't think for this being there physically, it's, the county is just allowing people who don't have access necessarily to high-speed internet and stuff. I think that was the original reason that they opened up the port to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think all the FEMA people will be online.
Exactly. And in November, they were actually at port. They were physically there, which allowed people to talk to them before and after as well.
So do people want to just read the letter on their own? If they have it already from the link, do you want to go through it here? Do you just open it up to questions, Mark, or how do you want to?
Yeah, I don't know. I would open it to questions or comments from the public. We love to get feedback on stuff prior to moving forward. Tom, you've got your hand raised there.
Yeah, I think it would be useful for
Uh-huh.
people who've not been familiar with this kind of arcane language uh, to explain what no net loss means.
Hmm.
Uh, It means that anytime you do anything to a area that's in the floodplain, you must do something to compensate for it. And the compensation is not one for one necessarily. For instance, if you take out a 10-inch tree, if you can do it on the same land, you have to replant 3 trees. If you have to do it somewhere else, you have to plant 6 trees. So it's not a one for one, it's a one for however many. They've got lots of different formulas and stuff, but does not seem proportionate. It seems punitive. And many of the lots in the Nesquin area are not large enough to be able to make the mitigation right there. Or else they're completely in the floodplain and they don't have any way of increasing drainage, for instance, to the floodplain. So they've got to be able to do it somewhere else. And that somewhere else is going to be very expensive and more than what they've taken away from it. And generally, it's just not practical.
So
It
the
also
law,
requires a lot more permitting time from the
Oh, yeah.
county that doesn't have staffing and costs for
Yeah.
the permitting time. And in
Okay.
a county that doesn't already have enough staffing
And
or
when-
money.
One thing we didn't put in the letter was that if you have to go somewhere else and adjacent to a floodplain, then you've got what effect have you got on that floodplain? So you're probably going to have a study for that to make sure that you're not making that floodplain worse. And then you could have a knock-on effect where you start going down the path of, well, this, and then that, and then that. So it's very open-ended as to what the mitigations might be.
so can I say just that what the loss is? So FEMA defines the loss as habitat for salmon, which is an endangered species. So any human change to the land, and as Tom described to me, taking out a tree could be building a deck or some kind of driveway in here, whatever it is. It has to be analyzed if you lose any habitat, any water storage, does it affect water quality? And does it affect the level of flood that could occur because flooding is a good thing for salmon. And if you do something that either takes away some of that potential for flooding or habitat, they consider that a loss. So that's what has to be mitigated, as Tom described, whether on your property or someone else's property, which then they multiply what you have to do if it's off your property.
Thanks for explaining that, Tom and Guy. It's yeah, I know it's complicated, and just looking at the FEMA study last week, they have all those, like you said, Tom, those charts talk about, what ifs, and I think there's some. It's quite extensive.
And I think the thing that we should be proud of is, as a community, and we have been focused on environmental kinds of things that if it's already in our community plan and has been, we've spent lots of money and
Mhm.
resources to keep the salmon habitat going, and we care about wildlife and the environment, and it feels like that's not being recognized by FEMA.
Mhm.
Um,
And that's in the letter. I don't think many people in
Mhm.
Nesco realize we have 4 streams, 4 creeks in Nescoin that come into Nescoin that are ESA Endangered Species Act listed streams. Butte Creek, Hawk Creek, Sutton Creek, which comes off of Cascade Head through South Beach, and Nescoin Creek, which comes down Slab Creek Road and joins with Sutton Creek. And all 4 have salmon. So Nescoin actually is, and as I said to Nancy and Tom yesterday, the Salish term Nescoin means plenty fishes. So we have plenty fishes. And we've done a lot to protect them. Butte, Hawk, I think the only, we have never done any projects on Nescoin Creek. We're actually thinking of some. They're in the making. But Sutton Creek is actually, right now, we're putting bridges in to open up the creek, take out undersized culverts. Butte Creek, we did the same. The whole egress road in Nescoin that goes into the Wayside Park, that has, 3 bridges that open up for Hawk Creek and Butte Creek to help salmon. So that was part of how we got money for that. And of course, coming up soon, ODOT putting a bridge on 101 over Butte Creek as it passes under 101, which I think we'll be hearing about more than maybe the future CAC meeting.
I did sort of chime in here in my car, but I did hear back from ODOT, and neither the project manager or the PR person are available. They did offer an update that they could give to me, and a couple slideshow, presentation that we could present to membership on the October 11th meeting. But it doesn't sound like either of the 2 people that would be the people that we would want to talk to are available on the 11th.
Yeah, we might have to get them during the week.
Yeah, they both said that Saturdays are quite difficult
Yeah.
for their personal lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how about I just start here by, I move to approve submitting the letter attached version 10 as amended, and authorizing Mark Everett to present it at the FEMA meeting tomorrow evening with editorial and other changes authorized to be made as recommended by the county going forward.
I would second that. Any discussion about that from board
Or members, if you have
or
any
members?
questions
Yeah.
about any of this.
Okay. I'm reading in the chat here. I don't see any, I don't hear any comments or questions.
Looks like
and so-
positive.
Yeah.
Lynn
I
Saxon
support
says, thank you for preparing the
Yeah.
letter and letting me listen in. Sharon Rask says, thank you very much for your work on this.
Yeah.
So I'm not hearing any objections.
Mark, I don't have an objection
Uh-huh.
to it. And I think
Mhm.
that this whole letter, actually very simply and carefully identifies what our position is. And I appreciate the work and the thoughtfulness that goes into it. There's only so much we can do here, and that is to make our case.
Right.
And to make it simply, and that's been done. And Tom and Nancy and whoever else participated in this, you did the job. The
Guy.
job is good. It's completed. Move it forward.
Mhm.
There's not much else we can do about it.
Mhm. I agree.
I
And
think
Guy
Okay.
was the third
Go
person
ahead.
that added
Yeah.
a lot to it.
If it
Okay.
helps, as
Yeah.
the NCAC parliamentarian, I say
Yeah.
this is totally in order.
Okay, well, let's do a vote of the board members. All of those that are in favor of submitting this as written. You can just raise your hand or say aye. There's 5 of us, I think, here.
I
Aye.
I,
Okay.
Hi, it's Chris.
I think I don't.
I,
Any nay?
Susan.
Okay. Any nays? I don't think so. So I think we're all in favor. So that motion passes. Nancy, thank you.
Mark, good luck in presenting this. And welcome to the hot seat.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll get, I don't know, hopefully I don't know the process. I'll be there. I'll have the letter in hand and when they say my name from the NCAC, I'll be ready to go.
Sure. Get right
so-
on in there. Have a good
so,
time.
yeah,
Have a
yeah,
good time.
yeah.
Take a Pepsi along with you.
Yeah.
I think the hope is for any government organization meeting like this that it put in a 10th fraction of consideration of the work that we've done on our end, and at least considering what our
Mhm.
position is, because it's always a question of are they even going to be listening, or to what
Mhm.
extent?
Yeah.
That's,
Um,
we've done our work.
Well, I would agree, Alex, and I would say that just reading the letter today, it's a really good letter.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I really think it's a really good letter, and I don't know how a government person can't read that letter and at least have a moment's pause about it. But because I think it's a really good letter. So
I think that now that your vote's over, that our best hope, given that that FEMA and NOAA Fisheries and others are acting on a court order, this is not our government doing this. They have government agencies that have been ordered by the courts to do this. And I think our only hope is that FEMA, this whole notion of how much, just in Tillamook County, how much has already been done, how many organizations are committed to protect the habitat salmon, and tens of millions of dollars in Tillamook County alone have been spent protecting salmon. And this is my view personally, that our hope is that FEMA could go back to the courts and say, can we use what's been done as mitigation? Kind of a mitigation bank. And I know a lot of, especially a lot of dairy farmers in Tillamook County who've really been good, a lot of forestry people as I mentioned before, 2 of our best partners on our watershed council are representatives of timber companies. People work together in Tillamook County. So that's our hope, that the courts will accept that. But FEMA's got to present it. And hopefully things like this letter other presentations, what they're going to hear very loudly tomorrow from the people there at the port is we work together in Tillamook County to protect our endangered species. So we'll see how it goes.
I think the point's been made and it will be made, but all of us, I think, are aware that, you know, there are those who are in decision-making positions who probably pretty much have their minds already made up. They have their positions already mapped out. And what this letter does is simply put our position on that list. And makes the point, and I think elegantly and simply, that you know, this county is doing what this county needs to be doing and has been doing it all along anyway. And we certainly don't need you know, folks from elsewhere who don't know what's going on in this county to be making decisions about what we ought to be doing here. And maybe there will be, hopefully, let's hope, let's keep our fingers crossed. Maybe there will be somebody in this decision-making process who looks at it and says, well, those are good points. We need to take those into consideration.
It'll have to be a judge. All right. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But thank you for your
yeah.
efforts, really.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Guy,
Well, thanks for all the
Nancy,
input from people
Tom.
too, and
Yeah.
for coming tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you, Mark,
Okay.
for being on the hot seat tomorrow night.
Yeah, Mark.
Well, I don't really
you,
think
Mark.
it's a hot seat. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll
Warm
see.
seat. Let's
Yeah,
call it
yeah,
warm
yeah,
seat. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Swan song warm seat.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I no other public comment, I don't think. So I think I'll go ahead and adjourn. It's is it 6:36, Nancy? And
Mhm.
I'll adjourn the meeting, and I thank everybody for coming, and we'll move forward tomorrow night, and I'll make sure that the letter's sent. I'll be in contact with Sarah to make sure I think it's October 6th is his date. So we'll get
Yes.
that. Okay.
And Sarah had contacted me and suggested she's really slammed right now, but she suggested she might have some input starting Wednesday afternoon, Mark. So if she has
okay.
some, we'll see. But I don't know if she's had a chance to look at the draft. I just made one tiny little change of spelling out Endangered Species Act. So I'm going to send you the new draft or the
Okay.
final version that's not called draft anymore.
Okay.
And which is R10. So I'll change that part of it and send that to you and put it on
Okay.
the ask Candace to put it on the website.
Thank
Right,
you.
and I'll
Thank you,
read it
Mark.
tomorrow.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you,
Yep.
Tom.
And Guy
And
was
Guy.
And Guy. Yeah.
very helpful too.
Yeah.
And Chris and you and
Yeah.
everybody. So anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, folks. With that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting now at 6:37. Have a good rest of your evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
too.
You too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everybody.
Bye. Bye.